again, this is the Hawthorne legacy. Um, and so far, I believe our heir currently is our heir is currently an adult. Like, he just became an adult. And he's got 2 daughters. And he has a nephew living with him. But I was going to show you the family tree real quick, and he also has a wife, of course. And so, but I want to show the family tree of the whole family, because it's a big family. And, well, actually, I think both of his parents, both Andrea and Tyler were both Native American. And Elenor came from basically a mixed race, which was between white and African American. So their cultures collided when they became teens. They met in high school, obviously. They were high school sweethearts, Elenor and Nash. They got the reason, though, why they got married together was because of Robin. Robin was their source of the reason why they ended up together. Or not ended up together, but they ended up getting married. They were already boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. And so, but what happened shortly after they got married and moved in together is what Elenor thought what happened was she thought she ended up having a miscarriage. And so Robin, born a female, he was born a female, not a male. Elenor thought she, at the time, or they didn't exist. But then, one day, Kolton, decided to visit, his uncle Benny while, in Chestnut Ridge, because he took Falcon, to train. And this was shortly after Nash passed away. And so Kolton took on the reins of his dad. Pretty much is what happened. And so Kolton ended up, like, basically taking the reins of his dad, managing the ranch and everything like that, as well as Elenor moving in her younger sister, Erica, and because she was a teenager, and because her mom, well, no, that was before. That was way before. That's when Amelia passed away. And then, which I think was in the last video. And so, Kolton later on in his life ended up running into what would have been his older sister at the time, and she was a girl, obviously. Robin was a female at the time, and they were in the midst of transitioning from female to male. So Robin is actually transgender, and when I found out about that, I thought, ooh, that's an interesting turn of events. That Robin ended up coming back from the dead and wanting to be, instead of being female, being male. And so when Elenor found out that Kolton found his older sister, Elenor was like overjoyed. She was like, I have my kids, I have all my kids again, and that were with her husband, and she was thrilled about that. And then when Clementine became a teenager, she ended up, the first time, ended up passing away from an illness, or so we thought. And at that time, Clementine had a daughter, or no, technically Clementine's oldest child is Tash. But what ended up happening there was okay, let's just go back to this. Anyway. But when you go here, technically Clementine and Benny have a kid with Marley-Ray, and then Tash, technically his father is Tucker Overton. And so his father is still alive, but he is currently living with his uncle, because his uncle knows nothing about him currently right now. So, so anyway, we're currently on generation 1, 2, so we're currently on generation 4. We only have one, no. Okay, I want to go to Benjamin, because that is where we can find the rest of the family. So, generation 2, obviously Benjamin had Amelia and Samuel. Amelia had Elenor, Elijah, Benny, and Erica. Samuel had Samuel Jr., Elton, Samantha, and Darius. Their children, Erica has a set of twins. Their names are Brody, or Denzel and Brody. Benny Marley, had 4 children. Obviously, Marley Ray was one of his children, and then Alexander Green, Lynn, and Ernesto. And then Elijah had a set of triplets, Kyle, Julian, and Miriam. And then Elenor had Robin, Clementine, Kolton, Carrie, Arvin, and Benji, which we haven't found them. And they were Elenor and Corey's sons that she had with her third husband. So technically she has 3 other sons somewhere else. We do not know where they are. But I digress there. So, Darius had Cyprus, and he is currently married to a lady named Taylor. Which is actually quite interesting because Darius married a girl named Jenny, which her father and mother are Makoa and Liliana, the Kaloa family. So, technically, so Jenny married Darius while I believe it was Shirley married Elton and had a child with her by the name of Rachel. They weren't married. And she married Andreas, which his mom was Alyssa Aguilar. And then obviously the daughter was Emma Crow, Rory Crow, and Abel Crow. And then Jet Kaloa, Reed Kaloa, and Tiana Kaloa are his and Rachel's children. So they are a connection through Samuel. And they are generation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Generation 5. And then Elton has 3 sons. No. 2 sons and 2 daughters. Okay. So he has a daughter named Rachel. He had 2. Where did Danielle come from? Okay. Alright, right. That's right. So, Seth and Martin were twins. And then Danielle was their youngest daughter. And Seth married Mackenzie Moreland, which she is the daughter of Sammy and Tracy. And then obviously they have June, Ted, and Roy, as well as Mackenzie. And then Tracy Moreland, I believe, has a brother named George. So, and then he had a son named Austrios with Morgan. Interesting. Anyway, so that's that. And then Sammy is the son of Tony Simmons and Siobhan. So, and then Siobhan also had Tucker, which had Tash, and Rika, and then Ted, and June, and Roy, and Mackenzie. So, technically, the Moreland family, we've had them all. They're in this for the long haul, I guess. And Elton married Eloise, and they had 3 children together. But he had 2 relationships, and didn't marry Shirley, but he had a baby with her. And then, obviously, the 3 he had with his marriage. But Rachel is the only one who's had children. Now, Samuel Jr. was Elton's twin brother. Later on in life, he had 2 children. His oldest has passed away, Julia. And then he had a son, Bob. And then Julia married their mom. Sam married their mom, Jacqueline, which was the daughter of Thorne Bailey and Octavia. And they had Cameron and Haju, and Haju married Cooper, and Bob is single and lives by himself and still alive. I think he's an adult right now. So, and then Samantha has 3 children: Samuel, Sarah, and Sandra. Samuel married Mary Ingalls. Sarah married Nathaniel Green, who is his parents. Hopefully we can find who they are Miss Volkoff and Dusk Morin. And he has a half-brother named Brendan, and then a brother named Marshall, and Kayla. Interesting. Okay. And then obviously Samuel married into the Ingalls family, which are in Chestnut Ridge. And I believe Mary and Laura are currently married. Carrie is still living in the house with her parents. So she married Samuel. Laura married Alvin Hawk. And he has 2 kids, Hillary Kaloa and Henry Hawk. And yeah. And then Carrie, she's just there. Okay. No. And then Sandra, she married Amari Whipple, who is the son of Finn Dangle and Zatoon Dangle, and his sister is Ava Green and Lila Fioca. So, and then Samantha also married Joe Whipple, and that's how she got the name Whipple. Samuel, he also married only one woman, by the name of Leah. But she never had kids with him. Because Samuel Jr. and Elton were born through science. And then Samantha and Darius were actually born as Eleanor's children. So technically they were Erica's younger sister and younger brother. And because Samantha and Darius were a set of triplets, and Samuel's sister Amelia had two sets of triplets, which kind of made triplets to be a thing in this family later on in the road. And so Samantha and Darius are technically triplets. But obviously Darius only had one child with Jenny. So, and his name is Cypress. So they haven't gotten married. Or he has gotten married, but they don't exist. They don't have children. And Danielle's not married. Bob's not married. Martin is married to a lady named Cheryl. Seth married a Mackenzie. Rachel's married to Andreas. And then Samuel married Mary. Sarah married Nathaniel. Sandra married Mary. And then Cypress married Taylor. So, and then I think, Cameron. And then, but Rachel had Tiana and Reed and Jen. So I think they were a set of triplets, but I'm not sure. I think they were. And then, because everybody else had, because Elenor was a triplet. Well, Amelia had two sets of triplets. She had Elenor, Elijah, Benny, Erica, Samantha, and Darius. So they were triplets. So there was two sets of triplets. And then Elenor had 3 single babies, and then ended up having 3 boys at once. And then Kolton, which is the current heir currently, before he married his wife, Yarrow, he got abducted by aliens. And so technically, when he got abducted by aliens, he has a son named Cusco, which was the oldest of the 3 triplets. And then Comet, who is probably going to be my next heir of the legacy. And then we have Cammy, and Cammy was the youngest. So, and so right now, Cusco is, we don't know where he didn't get abducted. Cusco ended up, I can't remember where he ended up. It wasn't because, it was because of, I believe social services took him away when he was an infant, when the triplets were an infant, and he was a single father and had nobody else living with him. So he lost Cusco. And that's when Clementine Kolton and Clementine were living together with her daughter, Marley-Ray. And then Tash didn't exist until Clementine and Marley-Ray died from the same fire. And Elenor, I'm going to go to Carrie, because this is the best way to say it. Oops. But his their brother Stefan also died in that same fire with so their half brother died in the fire, and their half sister so technically the Harris, I think it's the Harris family, right? Yeah, Harris family exists of Jordan, which she married Quentin. And he is descended from Justin the Delgados, which is interesting. And so Evie ended up having triplets. Triplets? No. No. Because Quentin I believe was the oldest, and then Gabby, and then Nicoletta, because Nicoletta was living with Quentin. So Evie and Alexandra evidently adopted 3 kids together. So there you go. And then obviously they have an aunt that's still alive named Gianna Orchid, and she has a son, Kendall, which their dad is Rahulio, which ascended from Royal, Fabulous, and Eva. So that's interesting. Huh. Okay. And then, then Gianna married Marco. Marco has 3 children. From, I think it's the lady from Cottage Living, and she adopted 3 kids. And then he has 3 kids, so Verdun, Jem, and Alice. So, and then Samaria, Jem, and Varden. And then Jordan Price, their mother was Nikki, and their father was Nick. And their grandmother was Mary, Sydney, and then obviously this is Makoa and Liliana's son, Nick. Okay. Which they intertwine together as well, which is actually interesting. But Brandy technically is descended from the original Harris family. So we have Brandy, Damien, Nicola, Jeb, and Gideon. And then Gideon, I guess, ended up being a goth. And then Nicola ended up being Rogers. Jeb ended up being Harris. And then looks like Brandy and Damien were the only ones that had kids. So Damien had Haley Marley, which is Ernesto's wife. We have Machish and Edge. So Haley ended up marrying Ernesto. And then Ernesto was actually a twin. I think Lynn and Ernesto were twins. And so obviously Jessica was Benny's wife, and they had Lynn, Alexander, and Ernesto. So anyway, and then, but they haven't had kids. Marley Ray, I don't think it's going to show. Yeah, Marley Ray technically had a son by the name of Nash Jr., which was after her grandfather on her mother's side. but it never came to fruition. No, it didn't come to fruition. He ended up being a baby, and then he ended up moving in with the Watkins family. Because Marley Ray and Goliath Watkins got married as teenagers and had a baby. As a teenager. And so he was Nash Jr. Sparrow Watkins. Because that's what we're going to continue the last name with. Because I was going to continue the legacy with Marley Ray originally. And then when she passed away, I was like, that's not gonna work. And so yeah, they ended up marrying. Or they ended up not marrying. They ended up ending up not being a part of the tree, but technically, biologically, they are related. I think it'd be like a cousin to Kolton. But anyway, Kolton, his aspiration is championship rider. He's been working at this for a while now. He is currently an adult. He's got 35 days left until he becomes an elder. And his traits are perfectionist, proper, loves outdoors, cat lover, horse lover, and rancher. He's also asexual. He's also responsible. He's a romance sim. He prefers an exclusive relationship. He's got a sleep disorder. He technically originally did not want children, but then he had his triplets by abduction, and then he was okay with it. But after that, he quit. And he's currently an Aries. He's also afraid of the dark right now. So that's crazy. Currently, he's also in Kolton is also an equestrian. In the equestrian career. So, anyway. So, his wife, Yarrow, is currently a young adult. Yarrow was formerly his ranch hand, to help with the horse and everything. And so, this is how she basically came. She's childish, amusing, maker, artistic, adventurous, green fiend, perfectionist, paranoid. She's a proud advocate of the LGBT community. She's gender fluid. She's questioning her orientation. She's happy to be pregnant. She's currently gender fluid though right now. And right now her pronouns that she's decided to use are she, her. She's indifferent of being romantically exclusive. She's a knowledge sim. She loves cooking. That's one of her things, I think, is cooking. No, She doesn't like cooking. She likes fitness. Okay. But anyway. And she is a Virgo currently. So, anyway. And, so, now Comet, which is the second born of the triplets, currently she is also interesting because her traits are the most interesting that I have seen. So her current traits as a teenager are child of nature. So she wants to be a nature sim. She's child of the ocean. She's also lactose intolerant and a heavy sleeper. She's witnessed, obviously, has encountered occults. She's romantically attracted to masculine sims, so she's basically a straight sim. She's also got a weak alien bloodline, so this sim is the child of a full alien without a bloodline, and will thus benefit from a 10% boost to all things scientific, like her logic and rocket skills. She'll also lose energy 10% slower than the average alien. So that's pretty good. And she's an unhappy infant. And I think currently right now, her aspiration is the occult discovery. So this sim wants to be the one to prove that occults are real to the entire world. So she basically wants to show that not aliens, but the occult are not all bad. So, so I kind of think later on down the road there might be descendants of their family that might marry into the occult or be an occult themselves, like through Science Baby or whatever. Currently she's a teenager, so she's a high school student. She's got high self-esteem, so that's good. I think really that's it, right? She's currently doing something with the horse. She does have likes and dislikes. Okay, so she likes the color green. She likes silly behavior, and she likes aliens. So she wants to mingle with more of her kind, which is understandable. And then Cammy, which is her twin sister. Oh, this is the first I've seen this. Okay, so Cammy is a genius, rebellious, self-assured, and child of nature. She's sexually attracted to masculine sims. She is the socialectal outcast. And she has witnessed the occult. She's pretty much straight. The only thing which is interesting, is about her orientation is that she's a gray romantic, which means Cammy does not typically experience romantic attraction, but might in some circumstances. So she typically is not into romantic attraction. So that's also interesting. And she likes jokes and silly behavior, which is also interesting. And then Tash, what's interesting about him is he's gone through he went through 3 child aspirations, which I was proud of him for. And he's also a child of nature. He is also ADHD. He's also a bookworm and brilliant. So that's something that's awesome about him. He's witnessed the occult. He's not so good with gardening. He's headstrong. He's sexually attracted to feminine Sims. He's a trickster by nature. He's economically gifted. His special interest is books. He's got giftedness, which giftedness is a neurologic difference which affects each gifted child differently. Gifted Sims often excel at many skills, mostly logic and thinking, communication, and language skills, are creative and passionate about their pursuits, reach milestones faster than others, and enjoy solving problems and pursuing further knowledge. While in many ways they can excel beyond their peers, they can either or both be fiercely independent and incredibly sensitive and often have trouble self-regulating. Talk and play therapy can be effective therapy for gifted Sims who are overwhelmed, have trouble self-regulating, and have a strong fear of failure. So he's got perfect pitch when it comes to instruments. He's a quick learner. Right now he's also rebellious, fear of the dark, and fear of being cheated on. And what's interesting about that, on their own, Comet and Tash developed a romantic relationship on their own. And the funny thing of it is, I don't know if they show as cousins. Yes, they do. On here, which they do. But they're lovers, they're girlfriend, they're jokesters with each other. So they have the family dynamic of jokesters, but they're also a cousin. First kiss and known alien. So he knows that she's an alien. And so my guess is that he wants to be with her because of the... And, well, obviously this is Kolton's horse, Howdy. And he is currently an elder horse. And I don't think he has much longer. I don't think. Until he passes away. And I think by that point, yeah, he's got 8 days left until he becomes, until he's passed away. So currently right now, pet-wise, in this legacy, we have had Buddy, Chloe, Nibbles, Harley, Harvey, Maxine, and Justice, and Howdy. Well, Falcon too, but we sold Falcon. And then we bought Howdy. So once we moved to Chestnut Ridge from Brindleton Bay, because Kolton moved to Chestnut Ridge from Brindleton Bay because he just wanted to get away from Brindleton Bay, and he knew Uncle Benny lived here, and he wanted to be closer to his uncle and his cousins on his mom's side of the family because that's all he has. And so it was interesting. And now he wants to go find his half brothers and possibly bring them here, but I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. But maybe later on down the road it might happen. I don't know. But I know Kolton too, he wants to adopt, or he did at one point, he wanted to adopt a cat. And so I was thinking about adopting a cat. So I think anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like and favorite it if you enjoyed. Also subscribe, it means a lot. And this family is on the gallery for your guys' enjoyments, if you want to add them to your game. And I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.